Hello, motorcycle enthusiasts. We very often receive emails from you asking, "Hey, can you make a video on how to replace the diaphragms on the slide in the carburetor? Is it even possible to replace them? Do I need to buy a whole new slide? How does it all work?" And that's what we're going to do now. There will be a lot of videos where we'll show you how to replace these diaphragms for your specific motorcycle model. Now, of course, the question arises, when do I actually need to replace this diaphragm? I always say in the videos that you should carefully inspect it, and you might find a spot like this. It looks like this. You can see here that it's already a bit worn mechanically. I always run my glove or finger behind it so you can see a worn spot clearly. And if I find something like this, I take a small, strong flashlight and shine it behind the diaphragm. Here, you can't see anything yet. Even though it's visible that the top layer of the rubber is worn away, there's still nothing visible here. Now let's take a look here. I found another diaphragm for you. Look here, it looks similar, but when I shine the light behind it, you can clearly see that a small hole has already formed. And you can find these spots in different areas. The surface here also looks a bit worn. When I shine the light here, you can see a tiny hole. It's a bit of work to do this, but generally I can tell you that if it looks like this, even though no light is shining through yet, it usually doesn't take long before this spot tears. So if you've already taken the time to thoroughly clean the carburetor and are installing a new repair kit, which you can find in our video description, then go ahead and check out the shop and order the diaphragm at the same time. This is one of the very few shops in all of Europe that sells these high-quality diaphragms. And please remember to order the correct number of diaphragms you need. I'd recommend that if even one part is damaged, you replace them all, because if you're already doing the work, it makes sense to do it right. Now let's focus on the diaphragm for your specific motorcycle. In your case, the diaphragm is seated in a groove on the slide. It's just placed in there and held by its own tension. If you pull it a bit, you'll see it quite clearly. Now you just pull it down over the plastic edge and then remove it from the slide. If you're replacing it anyway, you don't have to be too careful. And when you have a new one, it looks like this. You'll need some silicone spray, which we've linked in the video description. You can spray a bit into the small groove here. And then you do it like this. Slide the diaphragm onto the slide from below, and basically all you need to do is get the diaphragm back into that groove. It's relatively simple on your motorcycle. I always check to make sure the distance is even all around. Just move it a bit, and it'll slip into the groove more easily. That's why silicone spray is so helpful. It makes sure the diaphragm sits correctly in its place. Here's another example. That's why I've got another diaphragm here. It's the same principle, but here there's also a plastic ring that you have to remove first. You can also remove it downward. I'll show it to you on camera. It has two sides. On this side there's an edge. And this side is smooth with no extra edge. You need to be aware of this during assembly. The smooth side goes up towards the diaphragm. I slide the plastic ring back on and carefully put it back in place. This provides an extra level of security on some models, ensuring the diaphragm fits a bit tighter. And then there are models, which we'll show you now, where the diaphragm sits in a specific position and is held in place by a groove on the slide. The principle of removing and installing the diaphragm is exactly the same here. Please remember to check the video description. There you'll find all the materials you need, including fully assembled slides, if they're available for your motorcycle. This way, you can decide, okay, before I take on this task, I'll just order a complete slide and install it. So friends, that's it from us for today with this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. I wish you much success with your project and lots of fun wrenching. See you in the next video. Later, Gator.